Welcome to another episode of CrossTalk. My name is Kevin Tocci, and I will be here for the next 29 minutes and 30 seconds. And the idea of this particular program that we have here is to better inform the folks in the Whitman and Hanson area, the two communities that we serve, and beyond. And we talk about a variety of different topics, whether it's community issues, items that are going on in and around town, upcoming events. And it is the season where right around the corner, we have the general election, the November 6th general election. So we do have folks who are in races come on in and sit down and have a conversation. And today, that is the case, as we have Mr. Alex Bezanson. He has been here before. Welcome.
Thank you, Kevin.
Welcome back to CrossTalk. And Alex is running for the 7th Plymouth District, which happens to be Abington, Whitman, and East Bridgewater. Not all of East Bridgewater, but just one precinct, right?
No, 3 precincts, 2, 3, and 4.
I'm sorry, I'm confused actually with the 10th Plymouth District, which would be 1. So I get my precincts mixed up, but you kind of get the gist of things. And Alex is here to kind of talk a little bit about, how things are since the primary, where you were successful in getting the Democratic nomination. I guess probably the first thing I would ask you, how have things been since September 4th?
Busy.
Yeah.
We had a great unity breakfast the following Saturday, and Kevin Higgins helped put that together, and he endorsed me, and he's been a big help in the campaign. So we're glad that everything worked out. Sometimes in primaries it gets heated, but sure. We're all in it for the same reason, and I'm glad to have Kevin's support.
You look at today, especially on the national level, all the political divide. How important is it that there is party unity? I know you're out there and you're talking to people, and you're not talking to them saying, I'm with the party, but how important is it that the folks that you affiliate yourself with are on board and helping you to get across the finish line on the 6th?
Well, it's extremely important, and it's all the way from Boston all the way down, and we've received a tremendous amount of help from the Mass Dems, the Democratic Caucus of representatives, senators. We have other incumbent state reps that are helping our campaign that don't have an opponent. And one of my biggest supporters is Josh Cutler, who handles
6th Plymouth District.
And part of, Hanson.
Hanson, Pembroke, and Duxbury.
And he's very excited for me to get on with him so we can share, some of the responsibilities for the Whitman-Hanson School District and work closely together. He's a good friend and a good ally.
It's interesting where now he's kind of a senior legislator.
He is.
You see a lot of different folks that you know well, the Jimmy Cantwells, the Tom
Right.
Coulters, seeing the Jeff Deal moving along. What's great about the South Shore is that it doesn't matter what party you're affiliated with. There's a lot of the South Shore legislators work together in unison to be able to get things done.
Correct. And that's the way it should be. And I'm willing to work with anybody. I have some very close friends, good friends, that happen to be Republican state representatives right now. I'm not going to mention names, but, I think I've got a record of so-called working across the aisle. Even as a selectman, I worked with, Republican selectmen, and we got some good things accomplished. I know town politics is supposed to be nonpartisan, but it is. It is. And, I have a record of working closely and getting things accomplished.
How important is experience?
Well, obviously, I think it's extremely important. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that someone like Kevin Higgins jumped into the race. He's got a lot to bring to the table. But I think the voters went with me because of my experience. I have 27 years of volunteering for different boards in the town of Abington. And I think I've proven that I can get things accomplished. And I did that as a selectman, as a water commissioner, as chairman of the Conservation Commission for 15 years. I find an issue or an issue is presented to me and I can find a solution for that. And I'm going to continue that on Beacon Hill.
Because I think there has to be some kind of an importance, that there's some kind of a connection with the municipalities that you're going to serve, that you have an understanding, whether it's in the fiscal sense, whether they got projects that they're working on. You mentioned you have a school district here in the Whitman area and understanding the financial needs. So which is why I ask in regards to experience.
Yeah, I think experience is extremely important. And I've got the experience to hit the ground running on day one. You know, I've met with current state reps, I've met with current senators about the issues in our district, and they're willing to sit down and listen to me. As a matter of fact, I met today with Alice Peace. She is the chairman of the Joint Committee on Education, and I expressed my concern that I don't believe our district is getting our fair share. And she has assured me that she'll work with me when I get on Beacon Hill to look into that.
Do you feel it's just strictly the financial side, or does something need to be done legislatively when it comes to unfunded mandates?
Well, I don't think I would ever vote for a mandate that didn't have a funding source. And that's one of the biggest issues that Whitman has with the unfunded mandate for the school transportation. And it's really hitting Whitman hard. And I don't see myself voting for a mandate that the state's not going to fund.
Okay. Talk to me, what are you hearing from the residents? This isn't your first time here. I know we had a chance to talk prior to the primary. Has the message been the same? Are you hearing different things since you gained the nomination? What are you hearing?
You know, you hear the same thing. It's all, this is a very working class, mid to low income district. I mean, we don't have a lot of millionaires in this district. I think we touched on that in another debate. I mean, this is a tough working class area, and everyone wants their fair share of what's coming, what should be coming to us. And unfortunately, we haven't been getting our fair share on certain things. And school funding, back to school funding, there's a local town that their school funding has gone up 35% in the last 5 years. Abington has gone up 5%. Whitman about the same. East Bridgewater is spending the least amount per student of, I believe, any city or town in the state, or close to the bottom. So that's the school funding, our local aid, infrastructure. Those are the issues I'm hearing about. And those are the issues that I have the experience with. I am a former selectman. I know how the budget works. Infrastructure in Abington, there was an intersection at North Quincy and Chestnut Street. Several years ago, we got Old Colony Planning involved in it, and now that's going to be resolved in this year's budget. There's a extremely bad intersection in East Bridgewater. Same type of thing. I'm going to work on that and get something done there with Old Colony and with the state. You know, so I know the issues. I know the people of the district. I'm a working guy just like everyone in this district. Okay. You know, I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck, or job to job.
Talk to me. You're elected November 6th. You go up to the State House in January. Talk to me about being a freshman legislator and learning the ropes, getting things done, getting things for your district. How do you accomplish that?
Well, I accomplish that because of the relationships I have. And like I said, I was on Beacon Hill today, talking to state representatives and state senators, talking with the Speaker of the House. I'm not afraid to go up there now and tell them my concerns. And that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm not waiting till I'm elected. I'm planning to be elected, and I'm laying the groundwork now so I can hit the ground running on January 2nd.
Let's talk about probably one of the biggest issues, not necessarily just in your district, not necessarily in the Commonwealth, but it's a nationwide issue. Now, is it dealing with heroin or opioids? I don't know, because I hear that there are different drug problems in other parts of the country. But knowing that it's something that has been dealt with here in the Commonwealth. Give me your thoughts on this situation and what you'd like to see, let's say, in the coming couple of years to continue to tackle this issue.
Well, as you may or may not know, as a selectman, I formed the nonprofit Abington Substance Awareness Coalition. Again, I'm not waiting till I get to Beacon Hill to do things. I've been working on this issue for the last 3 years. And I tried to meet with the chairman of the Mental Health and Substance Use and Recovery Committee today also, and her name escapes me, Denise Garlick, but I couldn't get in to see her. But that's an issue that's very near and dear to my heart. I started that when I was a selectman. I got very involved in it. We now have a board of directors, and our main mission is bringing early education to our students. And I've said this a million times, but I firmly believe if we get the education funding and we can teach these students now, we'll see a shift. Spend more on education, we'll be spending less on treatment. But we need to force these insurance companies for longer treatment. You can't do 3, 10, 20, 30 days. It's not working, and it's proven that's not working. It needs to be a long-term program. It needs to be outpatient follow-up afterwards. It needs vocational training, so we're not just putting these people back on the streets. We need to train them so they can be active members of our community. A lot of these people started their addictions when they were teenagers, so they don't have any vocational training. And they finish a 30, 60, 90-day treatment, and they're back out on the street and don't know how to do a job. That, I think, is one of the main issues. We have to train these people so they can be productive members of our community.
I would ask you in regards to, you talk about the people who treat and have to help those people who are in the throes of addiction. We're talking about police, fire, your first responders. How important is it to make sure that they have the tools that they need, whether it's training with administering Narcan, or making sure that there's plenty of Narcan just in case, because we know that we're dealing with things like carfentanil, fentanyl, that are being mixed with heroin, and it's actually taking more doses to be able to revive somebody.
I think police training is huge. I think there are programs out there that the cities and towns can buy the Narcan at a reduced rate. I don't know if a lot of the viewers know that you can get Narcan now at CVS or your local pharmacy. But there was a bill before the legislature, and thankfully it passed this past summer, and it was a $2 fee increase on rental cars. And unfortunately, our current state rep voted against that, but it did pass. And that fee goes to police training. And that's one way you can bring money back to your community with things like that. If it's $7,000, $8,000, or whatever the amount is that comes to each one of our community, that's something that doesn't have to come out of our budget now, and that's used for police training. Those are the things that I'm looking for, that we can bring money back to the community with things like that. And the police training and the Narcan training for the first responders is huge. And opioid deaths are down because of the Narcan and the training. I don't necessarily think the usage is down, but I definitely think that the Narcan is helping and the first responders are helping to save these people.
What do you feel that the Commonwealth needs to do to continue trending forward, whether it's treatment, whether it's education, whether it's having enough beds, whether it's a program to prevent recidivism when it comes to folks returning back to treatment centers and at least having success with sobriety?
Well, because I've been involved in this for the last 3.5, 4 years, somebody said something one time that really made me think. You know, every time you go into treatment, you learn something new. So unfortunately, when you go into treatment your first time and it's 30 days, most of the time it doesn't work. But if you get in there a second time, you learn something else, and third time and fourth time, a lot of people have had success with multiple times into treatment. But that goes back to my point where the treatment needs to be longer. The Brockton Teen Challenge program is a 15-month residential treatment. and people say they can't get beds, I can get you a bed there today. That program may not be for everyone, but it is a successful program. And I know Teen Challenge firsthand. I've worked over there. My wife has worked over there, and we know the program. And it is very successful if you complete the program. And that's a 15-month program. We need more programs like that. And we need, Teen Challenge is not a program that gets any state funding because it's a faith-based program. So they have to do all their own fundraising. But we need more longer-term treatment, and they train their people so they do have vocations when they leave there.
Again, I'll put it to you, you're successful on November 6th. You head up to the State House, comes down to committee assignments. If you had your choice of committees that you could be assigned to, do you have any that you're kind of eyeballing? What?
Absolutely. I'd like to go on mental health and substance use. I'd like to go on the education committee. Those are the two committees that I'd like to serve on.
Okay. Any thoughts in regards to another part of your job is writing legislation, authoring legislation, supporting legislation? Is there anything that you already have in mind at the moment, or is it a matter of taking it as it comes, learning the process, and then getting the ideas from the voters?
I think getting the ideas from the voters is the same as I did when I was a selectman. When I got on the Board of Selectmen, I never thought that I would form the Abington Substance Awareness Coalition, but somebody brought it to my attention. I never thought that I would get a grant for $178,000 for a dog park, but somebody brought that to our attention, and we were successful. So I think the first year, the first term is a learning experience, but I'm not afraid to voice my opinion and sign on to bills and even write bills if something comes up.
Talk to me, I think we talked about it early in the conversation. I think it's something that bears repeating, the importance of being able to not only work within your own party, but work across the aisle. Why is that so important to be a successful legislator?
Well, I think if you want to get something done and you want to bring money, earmarks back to your community, you need the support of the other legislators to do that. You need to support their ideas, and you need them to support your ideas. And I think that's the main thing. I think, I'm focused on this district. I will always vote for what's the best interest of this district. That's my first concern. The whole Commonwealth is my second concern, but it's this. I'm going to be a full-time state representative for this district. I'm going to have a district office. I have volunteers that are going to man that office, and constituent service is huge. And that's why I'm going to have a district office. So we're only allowed one aide, so I need volunteers to man the office. But we will have a district office where people can go in with their issues, and if they have a Medicare issue or whatever, we'll have people in there, volunteers that will be helping them.
So it sounds to me as though constituent services is going to be kind of a key thing. You're going to look to roll up your sleeves and get involved with this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's probably the most important role of a state representative. And that's why I think it's so important to have an office in the district where they can walk in on a daily basis and they don't have to go to Boston or make a phone call to Boston and we get back to them. But I think it's very important.
You have been working real hard over the past year and a half. What's it like knowing that you could see the light at the end of the tunnel? What's it been like? Has it been like a marathon? It certainly hasn't been a sprint for you.
No, this has been a marathon. We decided November 10th of 2016 that we were going to do this. And I had a great team with me then, and it has been a marathon. But we have met a tremendous amount of people and received a tremendous amount of support in the district. Friends and volunteers that'll be lifelong friends now. And I'm sure they're going to be there for me in 2 years when we run again.
Something that, right now the state is dealing with, and I'm putting you in the scenario because who knows if it's something that may happen again if you're serving as a state representative. Right now, the state is dealing with a significant surplus from fiscal year 28. We're in 2019 right now. The current administration has its ideas as to what to do with that money. If Alex Bezanson could weigh in, what would you like to see? Where would you like to see some of that money, whether it's money for the district or money that for the good of the Commonwealth? What would you like to see?
Well, what I would like to see is some of that be put away in rainy day fund, because it will turn the other way eventually. But I think some of that money should be used for one-time infrastructure repairs, like bridge repairs, something that doesn't have to be done every year, but one-time infrastructure repairs would be where I would focus some of that money on.
Now, I know you mentioned early on that you've had conversations. You mentioned an agency like the Old Colony Planning Council, which is very instrumental when it comes to putting together an annual transportation plan and identifying some of the problem areas, intersections, stuff like that. What are some of the things that you're hearing in regards to our infrastructure, whether it's roadways, bridges, or even the MBTA, which has its issues?
What I'm hearing locally is the roads in certain intersections. In Abington, for example, there's a bridge right near the police station and DPW that they have coned off because we don't have the money to fix that. East Bridgewater is the intersection of Route 18 and Central Street, and the other one on 106, where there's been several accidents. That's what I'm here. Those are, I'm focusing on the district and the infrastructure needs of our district.
The one thing that I've noticed whenever I'm poring over social media is the support you're receiving from various individuals, whether they're elected, community leaders, unions. What's that like in regards to the support that you've been receiving?
I've received so many endorsements.
You losing track of them?
Actually,
losing count, maybe?
Actually, I am, and I'll rattle off a few. But Josh Cutler, Congressman Lynch has endorsed me. Plymouth County Treasurer Tom O'Brien. The three of them have been a tremendous help to me. Randy LaMartina here in Whitman, a selectman, a couple of selectmen in Abington. I've got several union endorsements. I think that tells you that I am the candidate of the working men and women of the Commonwealth because I have so many union endorsements. I've stood with the mass nurses a year and a half ago when they were walking the line at Tufts. I've stood with the gas workers when they were locked out, and that now is costing each one of us money because National Grid cut their medical insurance and now they're on Mass Health.
Yeah, okay.
And the speaker just asked yesterday to come up with a dollar figure on what's that's costing the Commonwealth. And keep in mind, they didn't walk off. They were locked out, and National Grid cut their medical insurance. I went to a rally, and this mother got up that works there, and they cut the medical insurance for her daughter who's going through cancer treatment. So I really have my finger on the pulse of the labor movement, and I'm proud to say that I'm endorsed by all the labors. I'm endorsed by the AFL-CIO, and I'm proud of those endorsements.
How does that feel? How does that feel to you as an individual, knowing that people have confidence in your abilities to go up and do the job up at the State House?
Well, I think that says what I've been saying. I'm the right person for this job. They know I'm going to be there for the working men and women, union or not. I'm there for the working men and women. And I think what endorsements tell you is that people think you're the right person for the job. And I have received so many endorsements, it's unbelievable. I'm thrilled by them, and I'm not going to let them down.
We've got less than 5 minutes left in our program. Is there anything that I haven't asked you in regards to your run for state
No, I
representative?
think you asked about everything.
Really? Well, let me ask you this. What's probably been the one thing that you have learned from this experience running for state representative that you'll probably treasure for the rest of your life?
Well, I think one thing is the friendships I've made. What I've learned is to listen to the people, talk less, listen more, and I have been listening to the people. And I think because I've been listening, I know what they need, and I know what they want. And I really think that they want someone that's going to be a full-time state representative, that's going to have a district office and going to be there and ready to go on day one.
What are the next couple of weeks going to be like for you? Knowing that you're where it's, the home stretch is there. Probably right now it's Heartbreak Hill, if you want to refer to the Boston Marathon. What's it going to be like for you?
We go 7 days a week. We have canvassing coming up. We have events we go to. There's not a day or a night that goes by that Lisa and I aren't doing something. Lisa is out knocking on doors every single day. I'm out there knocking on doors when I get home from work because I am still working. We go to events, we go to football games, we go to soccer games, we go to meat raffles for various things. We're everywhere. But we've always done that, not just during the campaign. We've always supported the community with these type of things. So I think people see that too, that I'm not just doing this because I'm campaigning. This is something Lisa and I have always done with our charities and other things, that we've always been out in the community and reaching out and helping people.
Now, I make sure I ask folks who are running, especially if they are connected to the communities we serve. The hope would be that you would continue the tradition, the 8-year tradition that we have for the 7th Plymouth District CrossTalk. The hope is, if you're successful, you can do a show at other access centers in the district, but we'd love to maintain you here as the next state rep. Can we get you on the record saying that
you can,
you'll
Kevin.
be here at Whitman-Hance Community on a regular basis?
You know I would for you, Kevin.
Okay. If folks want to find out more about your campaign, what's going on, they want to get involved, give us some information, website, phone numbers, stuff like that.
We're on Facebook at Alex Bezanson for State Representative. My website is alexbezanson.org, and my cell phone number that we leave at every door that's not home is 781-953-1236. Call me anytime, and I do answer my phone. If I'm busy, I promise I will call you back.
And he doesn't do it during driving either.
No.
I want to thank
that bill
you.
will be coming up next session.
Okay. We want to thank you and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
In your race. And we want to let you know that, again, it's important for you to get out there, get educated about the candidates that are running for office so you can make a proper decision as to who will best serve you during whatever term it is that they're looking to serve. And we hopefully here at Whitman-Hance Community Access are doing that by having the candidates in and having conversations with them. You have been watching CrossTalk, and until next time, have a great day.